Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm really excited because we are going to be doing a different kind of video for my channel, and I'm going to be showing you guys how I did my nails at home for the first time ever. These are not press-ons. I did them by myself at home using tips and Polygel. Prior to this whole quarantine happening, I had acrylics on my nails for the longest time. You guys know that. Some of you love my nails, some of you hate them. I've always been a longer nail girl. I've always had long nails, but obviously all the nail salons are closed right now, as they should be. And my nails were growing out really long, so I took all of my acrylics off and ordered a bunch of stuff on Amazon Prime to be able to do my nails at home. I actually have been wanting to transition from acrylic to something else for a while, and I did a lot of research and found Polygel, which seems like a really good solution. Based on what I read online, it's kind of like in between gel and acrylic. So that's what I did on my nails. Everything I got was from Amazon Prime and was delivered really fast and was pretty easy for me to actually do this once I got the hang of it. So I wanted to film it for you guys because I'm sure a lot of other people are in the same position that I was, where your nails are really grown out and need some TLC. So I'm gonna show you guys exactly how I did them. And yeah, without further ado, make sure you guys subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Click the little bell right next to the subscribe button so you can be notified of all my future uploads. And let's go ahead and get started. All right, so this is my little setup with everything that I got. I'll show you guys what the outside of the box looks like just so you can see. So this is the brand Model Ones, but yeah, it was on Amazon Prime, which is why I went with this one and the one that shipped the fastest. So this basically has most of the stuff that you need. It comes with the different polygel colors. So there's pure white, soft pink, light apricot, nude, and then a temperature changing one. So you get a variety of options: base coat, top coat, the slip solution, which you use when applying the polygel, some glitter, some rhinestones, the dual forms, which is what you basically build the nail on. And then you do get a little nail file as well as a brush, which is in there that you apply the polygel with. So this is basically, you know, most of the stuff that you need. I went ahead and got one of these nail drill things. So if you ever get your nails done, you know, they normally use this. So this was also on Amazon Prime. And then it comes with a bunch of different attachments that you can use on it to buff up your nails. So right now I just have the cuticle one on it because that's what I'm gonna use first when we start to prep my nails for the polygel application. And then you do need something to cure the polygel with. So I purchased a LED UV light also on Amazon Prime. So that's basically everything that you need. If you already have one of these because you do like at-home gel manicures or something, you wouldn't need to buy one, but I didn't have one. So basically just, you know, one of those that you put your hands in and whatnot. And then for that, I do have this, which this is like a brush-on sunblock. And this is from Tarte. I love to use this when I go to the nail salon because this, you know, I always get nervous, like basically just putting my hands in there without any sort of sunscreen or anything. So I do have this to apply to my hands, just a brush-on little sunscreen, so you can throw it in your purse or whatever. So I do like to have this, so I have this on hand as well. And now this next little part is optional. These are the dual forms that come with the set on Amazon, so you can definitely use these. If you look up polygel tutorials, a lot of people use these dual forms, and you basically build the polygel inside of these nails. I'm gonna do it a little bit differently, where I'm gonna use tips like I normally would with like acrylic or whatever. So I just got this set of 100 from the brand Kiss. You can get them on Amazon. I believe they have them in Target as well. But I'm basically gonna apply the tips to my nails like I normally would when I get my nails done at a salon, and then instead of using acrylic over, we're going to use the polygel. I just thought for me this would be a little bit easier than trying to use the dual form, so that's why I'm going to use the tips. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to start off by doing is prepping my nail. So I'm just using my e-file that I got to prep the cuticle area with the little tiny like cuticle head on it. It came with a bunch of different things that you could put on the top of it. So I'm just using this tiny one just to buff up the cuticle area because you want that to be really nice and smooth so the nail looks seamless when you go ahead and apply it. I did already previous to this take off any acrylic that I had left on my nails, and I did push my cuticles back a bit. So just kind of buffing up the area with this. You definitely do want to be careful to not hit your skin because it will hurt if you do, so definitely take caution when using this. You could use like a regular nail buffer if you would prefer to do that. This just does help to get a little bit closer, which is going to help the polygel stick better on the nails in the long run. Once we're done with the cuticle area, I'm going to go in with the file that comes with the polygel kit and just file my nails and shape them as I like them, as well as just buffing up the entire nail area. You do want it to be a little bit rough because this is really going to help the polygel stick to the nail as well as the tip stick when we go ahead and glue those on. So just buffing them up lightly, nothing crazy. For this, you definitely probably don't want to use the e-file, like the electric drill on your nails, which is why I'm using this regular hand one. It's definitely a lot easier easier to use when you're doing your entire natural nail. All right, so once I have my nails buffed up how I like them, it is time to go ahead and apply the tips. So what's great about this is that it does come with a great glue, so you don't have to buy that separately. And there's a bunch of different tips in different sizes. So basically first you're gonna wanna go through and find the correct size tip for each of your nails. This is really, really important to ensure that your nails don't lift, is getting the right fit. So you basically want them to fit sidewall to sidewall. So you don't want them to go over your natural nail, but you don't want them to be too small either. And the sizes vary. You know, obviously you can see me going through and using a bunch of different ones to find which one is perfect for my fingers. You can go ahead and file these with a regular nail file if there isn't one that fits you well, but I found these to be pretty standard in size, and I didn't have problems finding ones that fit my nails good. So you're just gonna go through, find whichever ones fit your nails perfectly, sidewall to sidewall, not too big, not too small. All right, so now that I have picked out all the different size tips for my nails, we're gonna go in and glue. So I'm just using the nail glue that comes in the kit. It's actually really super high strength, so I thought it worked really well. So there's basically two ways you can do this. The first way I'm showing you here is applying the glue directly to the natural nail and then going ahead and applying the tip on top, and you're just gonna wanna basically hold it down for about 5 seconds just to let the glue kind of work and for the tip to adhere to your nail. I found a different way to be a little bit easier, which I'm gonna show you guys now, but this is the way that it does tell you to do it, like on the back of the box on the instructions. Now, the other way that you can do it is apply the glue directly to the tip and then apply that to your natural nail. I found this to work better and easier for myself. So you basically do the same thing, hold it down for 5 seconds, but you're just applying the glue to the tip and then to the nail. But it's really a matter of personal preference. So either way, you can go ahead and do it whichever way feels more natural to you. And then I'm just going to continue on using the same method to apply the tips to the rest of my nails so that we have these nice, long, beautiful nails. Oh my gosh, could you imagine if I just didn't cut them? Hey, to each their own, but I am gonna go ahead and trim mine down. You definitely wanna leave them a little bit longer than you probably want them to be in the end because we are gonna go in and like file and drill and stuff. So I left them pretty long because I didn't want them to be too short. Obviously, you can always make your nails shorter after the fact, but you can't make them longer. So I definitely left them on the longer side, but we are going to go in and file them down pretty significantly by the time we're done with this. So I would err on the side of caution of making them too short. And you guys know I like my long nails anyways. So I'm just going in and trimming them. Now this next step is completely optional, but I decided to trim mine down a little bit on the sides as well because I like more coffin shaped nails. This was a little more difficult to do, as you can see me trying to use these clippers, but I like my nails to be like a little bit more tapered towards the end where these are like classic square tips. So I'm just trimming them so that I don't have to, you know, really file a ton after the fact. This just helps a little bit. If you want to keep them square, or, you know, shape them to your liking. And then I did just go in and file them as well, just so they were nice and smooth. You can basically do anything to the tips that you would, you know, do to your normal nails. So you can file them, you can buff them, you can do all that. So again, I'm just making them a little bit more tapered with the nail file before we go in and coat it with Polygel. Then I am going back in with the e-file or the nail drill, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, I changed the attachment on this. It's no longer the cuticle one. It's like a bigger attachment that kind of has like a sandpaper sort of feel to it. If you go to the nail salon, they typically use this, at least at mine. This is the one that she normally uses just to buff up my nails. So I'm just going over the tip area where basically the tip meets my natural nail and kind of filing that down a little bit. You don't want there to be any ridges there, so you do want it to be pretty flush or as much as it can be without actually, you know, drilling obviously into your natural nail. So definitely do this with caution and just buffing up the entire tip area as well, just so it's roughed up. So again, the Polygel has something to stick to when you go ahead and apply it. All right, so now that our nails are all prepped, we're gonna go in with the base coat. So this comes in the Polygel kit, and you are gonna need your lamp, whatever lamp you're using. So go ahead and get that ready. And you're basically just gonna do a very thin layer of this base coat on each of your nails. So you're gonna do the entire natural nail as well as the tip. And this is basically going to help the Polygel adhere best to your nails. So just doing a nice, thin, even layer on each of the nails. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put my hand in the lamp to let it cure for about 60 seconds. Depending on if you have a UV or an LED lamp, there are different times, but it does have instructions on the back of the box for how long you should leave your nails in. So this is what the nails look like after the base coat has been cured on them. So now it's time to go in with the Polygel. So I decided to use the shade Soft Pink. So you're going to want to grab that as well as the slip solution, which again comes with the kit. So I'm just going to pour the slip solution, a little bit of it, into the cap. You can always add more as needed. I'm just going to dip the brush that comes in with the kit into the slip solution, and then I'm applying the polygel directly to the nail. I actually wouldn't recommend doing this. I did make it work on this first nail, but I'm going to show you an easier way as it kind of went on. But obviously me doing this was the first time, so I had a lot to learn when doing it. But I'm going in with the slip solution on my brush to go ahead and mold the polygel to the nail. The polygel is super, super sticky, so that's where the slip solution comes in. It's basically like some sort of alcohol, I believe, which helps to mold the polygel to the nail. It's unlike acrylic where it's going to harden though really quickly, so you have a lot of time to work with it and stuff, so you can really take your time and mold it as you like. So as you see, I'm kind of moving the polygel in only one direction, which I was doing at first, and I would highly recommend doing that, but now you're going to see me start to move it in both directions, and that's where I definitely started to mess up this first nail. So I'd highly recommend only moving the polygel in one direction, whether it's up or down. I was able to make it work, but it's going to make your life a whole lot easier, and it's going to cure a lot less lumpy if you only move it in one way. So as I move on and do more of my nails, I'll start to realize this and it'll get better, but with time and some patience, I was able to make it halfway decent with the slip solution, and then I'm going to go ahead and cure the nail for 60 seconds in the lamp. And then once the nail has cured, it'll be nice and hard. I was just making sure that it was good to go. Now I'm going to go on to the second nail. So on the other side of the brush, there's this little spatula thing. This is what I would recommend doing, is putting the polygel on the spatula first, and then using that to kind of spread the polygel around on the nail since it is so sticky. I found this to be easier than to apply the polygel directly to the nail. Then I'm going in with the other side with the brush, again soaked with the slip solution, to go ahead and mold the polygel to the nail. So at this point, I still hadn't realized that I should only move the polygel in one direction, so I was still kind of doing it going both ways. So it was a little lumpy and a little bit harder to work with. But once I figured that out, I promise me it gets much easier. And even if it comes out lumpy once it's cured, you can always fix that again by filing, which is what I ended up having to do when I was able to make them look fine. But again, the slip solution does really help to mold the product since it is so sticky. It's definitely going to be like your best friend with this, but you don't want to use too much of it because then it'll really dilute the product. But just in the right amount, I normally will just dab it off on the paper towel when I go in and add a little bit more, and it worked really well. So I'm just again molding this onto the nail, and then again curing for 60 seconds once I was done molding, and then they are nice and hardened. Okay, and then finally, once I got to my pinky nail, I started to get more of the hang of it. So again, I'm going in with the spatula and using that to apply directly to the nail. And then this is when I finally started to realize that I should really only be moving the polygel in one direction. So as you see, I'm only moving my brush downward. I'm not moving it both up and down like I was doing on my previous nails. This definitely makes it so much easier to get a smoother looking polygel instead of something more lumpy that's going to take a lot of filing. So it definitely took me some trials and tribulations because obviously this was my first time doing this, but when only moving the brush one way, it definitely makes it easier to get a better looking application. So just finishing that up and then going to go ahead and cure as usual. It was definitely at this point where I realized the nails were way too long and going to need to be trimmed down quite significantly. But again, this takes a little time to get used to, again, especially if it's going to be your first time doing it. But with each nail, it got a little bit easier and I definitely got better at it. So don't give up after the first nail because I almost did. But it definitely is going to get easier once you kind of get the hang of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish off by doing my thumb like so, molding the polygel at the top and then only moving it in one direction downwards to get a smoother application of the polygel. So it was finally now where I started to realize like how to actually do this and what worked best for me. And honestly, when I did my other hand, which is my non-dominant hand, it was a lot easier. So there's definitely a learning curve, but once you get it, you're good. So this is what everything looked like once it was cured. So obviously they're way too long and a little lumpy. So they're gonna need some TLC and some after work just because I didn't know what I was doing at first. So I'm first gonna go in and shape them. So I'm just using the hand file that came in the kit and just shaping them out. Again, I like my nails to be coffin shaped, so I'm shaping them to my liking, both the sides and the bottom, to make sure everything is straight and how I like it. And at this point, I was just more worried about the shape of the nail, not the lumpiness of them. That will come next. All right, now to combat the lumps and bumps, this is where the nail drill is really going to become your best friend. This is going to make it a whole lot easier to really smooth out the nails and get rid of any of those bumps that I had because I didn't really know what I was doing at first. The smoother you apply the polygel at first before it cures, the less of this you're going to have to do. Obviously, because this was my first time, I definitely had some lumps and bumps, so I did have to use a little bit more of this than I probably will have to in the future, but I'm just running this over the nails to make sure everything is nice and smooth and that there's no lumps or bumps. So once you have your nails all smoothed out and shaped, you're going to go in with the top coat. So similar to the base coat, you're just going to want to do a nice thin layer of the top coat over each of the nails. This is going to make them nice and shiny. And the really nice thing about this top coat is once it's cured, it's not sticky normally like how gel polish is. It's a no stick formula, so you don't have to use any like alcohol or any solution over it to make it not sticky. So it's just going to make the nails nice and shiny and add a little protective layer to them. So I'm just smoothing this onto each of the nails like so, and then curing for 60 seconds. And then once they are all cured, this is what they look like. So I kind of tried to make them ombre where they were like lighter at the top and then got a bit darker towards the bottom, but it ended up looking a little patchy. So I think I'll have to do it a little differently next time, but that's nothing that a couple rhinestones couldn't cover up. So I ended up going in with the rhinestones that they give you with the kit and applying those to my nails. So I'm just actually using the little cuticle bit from the e-drill or the e-file on the nails to place the rhinestones, and then I'm going to go over them with the clear top coat again so that they all stay in place, but just kind of getting them how I like them and doing that on each of the nails, and then just curing one final time to lock everything in place. And voila, this is them when they are all done. I actually really liked the way they ended up turning out. I think for my first time, I did pretty good, like better than I expected, and I really, really like them. So the last step is I'm just going in with some cuticle oil that I had just to nourish my cuticles because they were looking a little dry, so I like to do this at the end. But honestly, I really do think that I will keep doing this even when they open the nail salons again because I did really enjoy doing it. It was like therapeutic, and once I got the hang of it, I really enjoyed it. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful to you guys and you enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll have everything that I used today down below linked in the description box for you guys if you want to purchase anything or try it for yourself. Honestly, it was a lot easier than I had expected. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye!